Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this video today is something I'm really excited about. Pre-sale will be happening in February time. Just before we jump into going over what the project is about, make sure if you're new to the channel you subscribe. I've also have a Telegram group. Jump into that. I share different bits of crypto news around regularly on that. It doesn't just focus on my channel, so I'd appreciate if you would take the time to subscribe to that as well. So without messing around much longer, we're going to jump straight over into this new project. The project I'm talking about is called Nexus War. This is something I've seen obviously a few YouTubers talk about, and I've been in and out of the Discord group over the last couple of days, and to be honest with you, it's something that I really interested in. Probably a brief background on myself in relation to this. I would have been a user of the game called EVE Online. I played that for quite a while, to be honest with you. Every so often I'd still throw it on, but I think this is Nexus War. Has similarities to it. It's not exactly the same, obviously, but I think that's what intrigued me to it more than most other these games on the blockchain, say. So there's a bit of a strategy involved to it, and it's a bit of an economy built into it as well. So I think that's really unique. So we're just going to quickly jump over to the docs here and kind of go through that. We'll go through the docs. I'll go into the Discord and we'll do a little bit of comparison between this and the likes of EVE Online. So here we are in the Nexus War, the docs. I've highlighted a few things. There's a lot to go through here, so if you're interested in it, make sure you check it out yourselves and go through each section, read over it. I just don't want to bore you in this video by reading the documents, so I'm just trying to give you an overview of it all from my own perspective. The highlighted sections is pretty much the ultimate space conqueror. So do you want to become the ultimate space conqueror in Nexus War? In this high-stakes DeFi game, you'll explore planets, wage war on other ships, and attempt to collect the coveted Nexus spheres. Are you ready to risk it all for a chance to win a massive grand prize of 250 BUSD? Now, straight off the bat, you have to remember this is like a series event, so it's a 30-day series. The battle will be for the 30 days, season 1. So at the end of season 1, if you're holding all the spheres, you're entitled to win the grand prize of 250 BUSD. Nothing wrong with that grand prize. No one would say no to it. So obviously the gamification comes into that of how you're going to eventually get in a position to win these spheres. So that's what we're kind of going to go over a bit now. Contracts, obviously, once the contract is released, it'll be up on this section. Just to note that they will have their own decks. Now, from what I can gather, you can still buy the token once they're released normally, but they'll have their own decks where it has a lot of benefits that kind of help support obviously the entire project Nexus War business model, say. Obviously we have a few drawbacks, which I think is really nice to see that they actually open up to showing what their actual drawbacks are. Most projects would tend to ignore these and say we only have positives, so hats off to the team for that, I think. I'm not going to go through each of these key benefits, but there's something that's really interesting for me was this one, our unique circuit breaker. So if we jump here to the circuit breaker, this is pretty much a thing that I've seen in like what they mentioned here in Forex markets. It halts trading. So the same will happen here. For example, if the price of a token, an NX Nexus token, falls 30% within a minute or something like that, the circuit breaker would initiate a cooldown period of 5 minutes, during which no new sell transactions will be allowed. I think this is good to prevent whales dumping large amounts into the project or onto the market. The big problem when people decide to sell like whales, most often they'll sell them all in one lump sum, instantly causes panic, and obviously everyone just follows suit and starts selling. Then I think this will prevent that massive sell. Obviously more people will kind of be understanding that this is there to protect them, so there's no need to panic sell because one whale decided he wants to get out of it. So I think that's a really neat feature to have in it. Again, so if you're obviously looking to sell and you know that the price is going to drop by 30%, you're going to break up your cells into smaller cells, and which in turn won't cause a massive panic in the market. So I think that's a very unique feature anyway. And that's obviously just from their own decks. It's not necessarily anything for the part of the game section. Big thing here is the team is verified, KYC. You can see them here, everything about them. You have LinkedIn accounts up here to them as well, which is very good. So like at the end of the day, they're not in this to rug, because they have a LinkedIn accounts that will have links with real life, obviously, work and stuff like that. So if they eventually start getting blacklisted on the likes of LinkedIn or things like that, it's going to look bad for them, even if they decide to move away from crypto. So I think that's, it's something that's really needed, is showing the team. I know they have a lot of different AMAs and stuff done, and you can see them visually talking in it. So I think I've seen Keith a few times talking in those AMAs. So yeah, that's a big plus for me anyway. Securities and audits, they're going to be done once the contracts are ready. So obviously the Certic is going to be a major audit anyway. Great to see as well. So we're here then on the star chart, the roadmap. You can see here what they have released. Launching the website will be the next thing, deploying the token contracts and the whole lot. So I'm looking forward to the game start. It's obviously now is the time I'm trying to start to prepare for this, and I said this is one of the reasons I'm wanting to showcase this now. So if we go to the tokenomics section, you see here initial supply is 150 million and max supply is 150 million. So straight away from the start it's going to become deflationary, because there's going to be no more tokens coming into supply. They obviously have a burn mechanic built into the game, which is going to make it deflationary. So I think that's going to be really good. When I see coins like this come out like this with the total supply release and there's nothing new coming in, it often does have a nice price increase for the time being, and then obviously everything settles out over time. But I think this is another good way to have it, so we're not going to be inflating with our coins every day. What's out is out, so I think that's good. Token allocation from the private sales, so a big push on marketing, obviously the security and audits and development. Personally, I don't know if it's too high for marketing. 70% of a budget blown on marketing is a lot. Maybe they might reduce it a little bit. I would like to see a little. Obviously, I'm happy to see marketing with a marketing background, but I would like to see it maybe a little bit more split to even development and obviously security and audits, but development especially, to be bringing new elements to the game, because after season 1 new people coming into it, and if we can keep adding more development to it, I think it potentially has, like what I mentioned earlier in the video, with the likes of EVE Online, things like that. Again, I suppose the big thing is what's the marketing being spent on. I know you could potentially spend thousands on YouTubers to making videos and stuff like that, and not all will create decent content on it. You have a lot of accounts that will have fake followers and fake subscribers. So I suppose the big thing there is maybe focusing a bit more on the game side of obviously YouTubers, and tapping into potentially that market that does game and likes with EVE Online, because that could attract a bit of a different user base, obviously. So if we go to taxes, there's no buy and sell tax transferring, so that's obviously a big plus. And then the token allocation from the public sale, so obviously these are two different times, remember. So we have 44% will go to the DEX liquidity. Season 1 rewards is 44%, and the project team is 11%. Again, it's not a major amount for the team, project or the team. So is this 11%? Is it for a runway basically to keep building and keep progressing? Wallets, it's just simple enough. So if we go down here to the sale, so if we can get into the private sale, which is meant to happen, I think, in February. You can see here there's 2 million Nexus tokens available, and their price is 0.075 BUSD. Obviously, the public sale is going to be 1 cent, so you can see there's a decent reduction on that. It's pretty much simple enough to get into the Nexus pre-sale or into the private sale. So I'll leave the link in the description to their Discord, but you come into their Discord, you come down here to submit your wallet, you verify your wallet with them, submit your wallet, that's it, and then you're given the role. So I'm given the role here at the moment, the Space Mavericks. That means that I'm verified in this now, so I'll have access to the pre-sale, or the private sale, sorry. So my plan here is to buy enough of these tokens to put me in a position where I can actually buy one of the ships for when the game launches. That's the next big thing, is probably how to play the game and stuff. So earlier in, the cheaper your ship is going to be. Obviously, if we have to wait till this point, you're going to have a much more expensive, basically, sale of having to buying these. So obviously, if I'm able to buy it at what I think it is 15 or 20% discount, it's, for me, it's much better anyway. So obviously there is going to be, I think it's a locked 50% is, I'm not sure what the TGE is again, but there is a little bit of a lock here, so I will be looking, as I said, buying enough so I have that 50% or whatever it is for buying my ship to play the game. Obviously we have the public sale again. The planets is going to be a big one. I think originally I had planned to try and see could I get one of the planets, but from listening to different chats and AMAs, I think these are going to be priced out of my price point anyway. It's a first come first serve basis for your set for the planets. Starting bid is 200,000 Nexus, so that's, I think it is $2,000 from based on the public sale price, and they're going to increase obviously by 25,000 every bid. So each auction will last 24 hours, and to prevent sniping. Sniping, if any of you remember, sniping is one of the big things that used to be in FIFA Ultimate Team and stuff like that. So to prevent sniping, new bids placed in the final 5 minutes will extend the timer by another 15 minutes. So obviously there's going to be a bit of a bidding wars happening with these. And then Nexus only collect from the winning bidder. So obviously if you bid 200 Nexus and someone comes along and bids 225, they pay. You don't lose any of your tokens. Your tokens come straight back to you. Then obviously we have our actual NFTs. So the Jumpship. So for season 1 there's only going to be 500 Jumpships available. And from that then it's going to cost 100,000 Nexus. So I think that's $1,000 based on the public sale. So as I said, I'll be looking to buy a good chunk of this in the private sale, and then looking at if I need to top it up a little bit more on the public sale if I can. So when you buy your Jumpship, you have to buy additional things if you want to. Well, you don't have to. I think you can buy additional gearbox, siege boxes to help increase your chances of winning. However, it is mentioned that these are not necessary. So like, it's not a case of you have to max out your ship with all these things in order to win. These are just going to give you a little bit more of an advantage, or might help you in the battle. So I think that's really good to have that option. So again, it's not pushing people to buy extra add-ons to have a chance of winning. It's literally you buy your Jumpship and then you can still play the game. So we're going to quickly jump into revenue opportunities. This is obviously really interests me as well. So I think obviously you have your revenue of buying and selling the token, Nexus token. So you can gain this token from the game itself. So from battling, defending and stuff like that. We have a 250,000 grand prize from season 1. You need to collect or steal all 5 Nexus spheres during season 1. So season 1 planetary prizes, again there's different prizes. Now there is, I've seen, I don't know if it's here or if the grand prize is not won, then there is a reward basically, or there is there is not, I don't think it's 250,000, but I think a certain amount is given to people to hold maybe one of the spheres, or other things like that. So I think that's really good. So it's a case of, potentially someone has 4, it's probably in your best interest to work together if you can, to try and stop them from getting the last one, because at the end of the day you'll have a chance then of getting a share of the prize. So I think that's handy and a good way. Obviously we have the NFT trade, and so you buy your NFTs, or if you were to buy a gearbox and you decided you don't want it, you could sell them. If to become demand for these gearbox NFTs types of ones, people might be looking to buy them. This could happen very quick, coming to the end of season 1, where people are trying to max out their chances of maybe winning the last 3 or something like that. So that's when potentially the NFT of a gearbox could shoot up in price. The passive income is really interesting, and this is why people are going to be going for the planets. Owning a planet offers a direct passive income through the collection of 100% of all Nexus spent by players choosing to explore the planet. So as part of the game, you have to explore the planet to have a chance of winning. So obviously the fees are going to go straight to, it's going to cost you Nexus to explore. So if it costs you 1,000 Nexus to explore, that 1,000 Nexus is going to go to the planet owner. So that's where the passive income stream will build up. And also if eventually this grows to a massive user base, like I keep mentioning with the likes of EVE Online, say, then there could be a massive amount of funds being generated passively for the planet holders. So that's why I think the planets itself are going to become a really sought after NFT to have. Rental opportunities, you could potentially down the line rent out your NFTs, rent out your Jumpship and things like that, people maybe just don't want to pay the full whack for it. And then obviously service fees, nothing extreme in there. I'm just quickly going to see the actions, I think it is. Yeah, so during the game, this is where I was mentioning about the actions. So we have an exploration fee is going to cost 5,000. So obviously 100% of that is going to go to the planet owner. Then we have an attack section. You will be not be able to attack a Jumpship that is currently in stealth. That's grand. So when it comes to the attack phase, it's going to cost you 5,000 Nexus, and the fee is going to go 75% of that as a defender, and 25% of that is going to be burned. Now again, so you have a chance to earn a little bit of Nexus even if you're being attacked, I think, which is brilliant, and it really adds to it. So there's pressure on the person that's paying the Nexus to make sure they plan it out and it's not just pointless attack. I think that's it's good, and it's really good that 75% of it is going to the defender. So at the end of the day, if they lose, they still have something from it. So it makes it a bit more fun, obviously. But quickly, just before I round it up here, it's a very long video at the moment. So if we jump over here to, this is what, as I mentioned, the EVE Online, and this is just something I've seen when I typed into Google. EVE at the moment has roughly 2 or 9 million players with around 160 or 170,000 active each month on average. There's an opportunity there for a massive amount of players to be coming over to Nexus War. This is why I think maybe in the marketing they should push towards the EVE Online community a little bit, because I think this effort would potentially open the doors to anyone that maybe in that community that's interested in blockchain and crypto might look at this and be thinking, okay, I'm familiar with this kind of game mechanics, so I'll definitely give it a try and jump over to it. So I know I've seen it there that the amount of money that is made, I think it's 1 million a month is generated. Yeah, so it might be a bit out of date, but the game subscription brings up to 1.2 million in revenue each month. So a subscription could potentially, and this could be your eventually your Jumpship, because if you had to upgrade your Jumpship or maybe buy a Jumpship every 2 or 3 months, then you have a subscription based system in place there as well, I think, which would add a little bit more to the project going forward, and obviously it's a revenue stream then to help further support the development and how it moves forward. So so sorry if it was a bit long. I tried to keep it short, but as I said, there's a lot of interesting things in about the game side of it. I'm really interested in obviously this section, hence why I'm really focusing on trying to get in, making sure I get the private sale and buy a good chunk of this if I can. Now obviously there's going to be a lot of people in it, but either way, the prices are not too bad. even if over each day. So day 2 it only increases by the 0.008 of whatever it is of a dollar, again, which is good. So there's plenty of them there going to be for sale for the private round. So as I said, buy your chunk of them, have them ready, and worst case scenario, if you don't get into the game side of it because you can't buy a ship, the token is going to deflate in deflate in the supply. So hopefully that will impact the price anyway. So we could be in a position that, not financial advice obviously, but you could double up your money maybe potentially if everything kicks off. So again, make sure you join the Discord, get access to that private sale. Basically, it's 5 days of private sale, so anything that helps save on this value here, is a plus for me. So make sure you join into the Discord. So look, we're going to leave it there for the video. I'm going to try and do follow-ups, and obviously once the pre-sale or the private sale launches, I'll do a video on that, how I'm doing, what's my kind of plan for it. Thanks very much for taking the time and watching the video, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you. Bye.